वेलकम टू दिस सेशन। आज हम देखेंगे एसिड बेसिस एंड सॉल्ट्स के कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन। शुरू करते हैं फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन से। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज अ मेटल M is stored under kerosene. It vigorously catches fire if a small piece of this metal is kept open in air. Dissolution of this metal releases great amount of energy and metal catches fire. The solution so formed turns red litmus blue. 5 questions are there. Name the metal M. So first part is when name the metal M. This metal is stored under kerosene. ये metal kerosene के अंदर store किया जाता है because it is very reactive metal. So alkali metals जो होते हैं बहुत reactive होते हैं. So first is the sodium. This sodium is very reactive, and this metal M, that is sodium, when it reacts with oxygen, when it is kept open in air, when the sodium metal is exposed to air, means sodium metal reacts with oxygen, so it forms sodium oxide. When the sodium metal reacts with oxygen, it forms sodium oxide. And balancing this equation, 2 on this side and 4 on the left side. So now this is a balanced equation. Why a metal M stored under kerosene? जो metal M है ये बहुत reactive होता है, that is सोडियम या पोटेशियम. अल्कली मेटल्स होते हैं ये, सोडियम या पोटेशियम. So बहुत reactive मेटल होते हैं. So when it reacts with oxygen, it catches fire. It catches fire. So they are always kept immersed in kerosene oil. That is any inert liquid. This will prevent accidental fire. So next question, if a oxide of this metal is treated with hydrochloric acid, what would be the product? Oxide of this metal is sodium oxide, that is Na2O, and it reacts with HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. So the reaction is it produces sodium chloride and water. So on balancing, 2 on this side and then 2 on the right side. So sodium is balanced on both sides, then oxygen is also balanced on both sides, hydrogen is also balanced on both sides, and chlorine is also balanced. So this is the reaction, and sodium oxide reacts with hydrochloric acid to produce sodium chloride and water. Now next question, write a reaction of M with air. So here is the balanced equation. Sodium reacts with oxygen to form sodium oxide. Na2O is sodium oxide. Reaction of M with water. When sodium reacts with water, it forms sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas is liberated and heat energy is liberated. Reaction of metal oxide with hydrochloric acid. Metal oxide with hydrochloric acid. So sodium oxide, this is the oxide of sodium, and it reacts with hydrochloric acid to form sodium chloride. This sodium chloride is a common salt. Now next question is write balanced chemical equation for the following statements. There are 5 parts. Bleaching powder is kept open in air. Bleaching powder is calcium hypochlorite. Brief crystals of copper sulfate are heated. Chlorine gas is passed through dry slaked lime. Carbon dioxide gas is passed through lime water. And sodium hydroxide solution is heated with zinc granules. Let's start. First is bleaching powder is kept open in air. So bleaching powder is kept open in air. Bleaching powder is calcium hypochlorite. This calcium hypochlorite CaCl2, it reacts with carbon dioxide CO2. It forms calcium carbonate and chlorine gas is evolved. Balancing calcium is balanced on both sides. Oxygen, there are 3 oxygen on the left side and 3 on the right side, so oxygen is also balanced. Chlorine is also balanced, so this is a balanced equation. Next is blue crystals of copper sulfate are heated. Blue crystals of copper sulfate are heated. Blue crystals of copper sulfate are hydrated copper sulfate. CuSO4 with 5 molecules of water. When this is heated, it forms copper sulfate, that is white copper sulfate and 5 molecules of water. So this is a balanced equation. Next chlorine gas is passed through dry slaked lime. So dry slaked lime is calcium hydroxide, and when chlorine gas is passed, it forms bleaching powder, that is calcium hypochlorite is formed and water is formed. So balancing this equation, calcium is balanced on both sides. There are 2 oxygen on the left side and 2 on the right side. Hydrogen is also 2 on the left and 2 on the right side, and chlorine is also balanced. This is a balanced equation. Next is carbon dioxide. Next is carbon dioxide gas is passed through lime water. Lime water, that is calcium hydroxide. So calcium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide to form calcium carbonate and water, and this is milky solution. Calcium is balanced on both sides. Oxygen 4 on the left side and 4 on the right side. Hydrogen 2 on the left side and 2 on the right side. So this is a balanced equation. Moving to next question. Sodium hydroxide solution is heated with zinc granules. When sodium hydroxide is heated with zinc granules, it forms sodium zincate, that is Na2ZnO2. Sodium zincate, and hydrogen is liberated. So to balance this equation, we add 2 sodium hydroxide. Now sodium balanced on both sides. Oxygen is also balanced on both sides. Hydrogen is also balanced on both sides, and zinc is also balanced. So this is a balanced equation. Moving on to next question. Next question is, give suitable reasons for the following statement. Rainwater conducts electricity but distilled water does not. We feel burning sensation in stomach when we overeat. A tarnished copper vessel regains its shine when rubbed with lemon. The crystals of washing soda changes to white powder on exposure to air. An aqueous solution of sodium chloride is neutral, but an aqueous solution of sodium carbonate is basic. So let's see. Rainwater conducts electricity, but distilled water does not. As the distilled water does not conduct electricity, as it has no ionic compound like acids, bases or salt dissolved in it. Whereas in rainwater, acid, bases and salts are dissolved in it, so they can conduct electricity. So ions are free to conduct electricity. We feel burning sensation in the stomach when we overeat. We feel burning sensation in the stomach when we overeat. So here excess of acid, that is HCl, is produced, and it has a pH of around 2, and it is very acidic, causes burning sensation. Next question. A tarnished copper vessel regains its shine when rubbed with lemon. So copper vessel tarnish due to formation of basic copper carbonates which get neutralized when rubbed with lemon, and copper vessel regain its shine. Next question is the crystals of washing soda. The crystals of washing soda change to white powder on exposure to air. Washing soda is sodium carbonate decahydrate, and when it is exposed to air, it loses 10 molecules of water and changes to white powder. Moving on to next question. An aqueous solution of sodium chloride is neutral, but aqueous solution of sodium carbonate is basic. Sodium chloride is a salt of strong acid and strong base NaOH so it is neutral. Whereas sodium carbonate is a salt of weak acid, that is carbonic acid, and a strong base NaOH, so it is basic. It's a salt of weak acid but strong base, so that's why sodium carbonate is basic, whereas sodium chloride is salt of strong acid and strong base, sodium hydroxide, so it is neutral. So moving to next question, write a chemical formula for hydrated copper sulfate and anhydrous copper sulfate. Give an activity to illustrate how these two molecules are interconvertible. Another question is write chemical names and formula of plaster of Paris and gypsum. So hydrated copper sulfate is copper sulfate with 5 molecules of water, that is CuSO4 with 5 molecules of water. And anhydrous copper sulfate is copper sulfate. So activity is heat a few crystals of copper sulfate in dry boiling tube. Then add 2 or 3 drops of water on a sample of copper sulfate obtained after heating. After heating, water is removed and salt turns white. If crystals are moistened again with water, blue color reappears. Water of crystallization is fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of a salt. 5 water molecules are present in one formula unit of copper sulfate. Next question is, so write the chemical names and formula of plaster of Paris and gypsum. Calcium sulfate with half molecule of water, that is plaster of Paris, and calcium sulfate dihydrate, that is calcium sulfate with 2 molecules of water, is gypsum. So this is the chemical names of plaster of Paris and gypsum. That's all for today. Do subscribe and share my channel Edu Infi Learning.